Hello Year 12 and welcome to our fourth and final video for Healthy Hearts. We're looking at some blood pressure graphs today. Remember in our last exercise we looked at blood pressure. We have two numbers. The higher figure is the systolic, the lower figure is the diastolic. Right? And it's an important indicator of our immediate health. So, changes throughout the day. When we're resting it tends to be a little lower. If we are a bit more active, then it might be a little higher. Radio. If you're in hospital, nurse will probably come around and do observations every hour or half hour or 2 hours, I don't know, something like that. They'll come around and measure maybe your heart rate and possibly your blood pressure and maybe your temperature, maybe some other things depending on why you're in hospital. But it is quite likely they're going to measure your blood pressure and graph the results so they can see any trends or patterns emerging. Okay, that's an important indicator of how healthy you are right now. So we can graph these sort of two different ways, right? Sometimes we do a line graph for the systolic and another line graph for the diastolic. Other times we draw like a vertical bar connecting the systolic and diastolic for each reading. So we get a series of parallel vertical bars of different heights. Anyway, I'll show you some examples. This is what we mean by the vertical bars. Right, I've sort of chopped the times off the bottom there, and they're pretty dodgy handwritten things there with dashes. I don't know that I've seen them as dashes so many times before with the arrows on the end, but this is from a medical paper I found online, so I'm sure that some people do them this way. Okay, so you can see the top end is the systolic, the bottom end is the diastolic, right, and we can sort of see how that's changing over time using that type of a graph. And here's another one. This came from some veterinary website or something, I think. I've got a feeling this is for dogs or something. But anyway, same sort of idea. Blood pressure. Systolic is the high one. Diastolic is the low one. Handy labels there. And they've been indicated as line graphs. Okay, so that shows more of a trend, I suppose, like that. It's changing over time, particularly if the measurements are being taken very regularly. Righto, so there's two different types of graphs, and I'm going to ask you to draw one. I've asked you to graph it, and I'm going to use the vertical bars here. I didn't say one way or the other, but that's what I'm looking for. And I think generally speaking, if I ask you to draw a graph, go for that vertical bar one. So Minerva's in hospital. Here are some blood pressure readings. You can see they were taken every hour at 15 minutes or 45 minutes past the hour, I guess, from 7:45 until 4:45 in the afternoon. So what do we need to do? There's a little bit of sort of graph paper here, that's handy. First of all, I need some axes. There we go, lovely axes with a little bit of room around the outside for labels and things to fit in there. Now I'm going to break those up. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different measurements across the bottom for my time, which is of course my independent variable. My dependent variables, systolic, diastolic, going to go up the vertical axis here. My lowest figure is 90, my highest is 100. My highest is 140. So let's say if we make it go from about 80 to around 150, that should fit in neatly. So we've got some labels in there, and it goes up to 140. Then the time across the bottom, that looks a little scrappy, but oh well, there it is. That's good. There's a pretty good looking graph. I should probably have axis labels. I should probably say pressure in millimeters mercury. I should probably say time down here. It might have date or something, but anyway. So, first of all, I'm going to put a little dot here for the diastolic at 7:45. 7:45, diastolic pressure was 90. There's a little dot there at 90. Now I want to put a little dot up here for 130 so that I can join those together. Right, there we go. And now a line joining them together. There we go. There's my first bar. How good does that look? Awesome. So, next up, 8:45. 95 and 130. So I'm going to need a little dot. Here's 90. So 95 will be here. Oh, 95, 130, join the bar in between. Again, 9:45, 95, 135. Hopefully I haven't made any mistakes. Right, we follow that along. There's all my bars. You can see some sort of a bit of a trend here, sort of going up and down. There's not a massive variation in there, and by and large those pressures are pretty good, if a smidgen high perhaps, but not too bad. Rightio, that's it. We have now graphed blood pressures. We've learned about systolic and diastolic and hypertension, hypotension. we have calculated maximum heart rate, resting heart rate, target heart rate, and intensity. That's pretty much it for Healthy Hearts. Right now, if you've got any questions about today's lesson or any others, you know I'm available in class. Make sure you don't forget, maybe write those things down. Make sure you fill out the notes as you go along. Yes, you should have these on paper, and I want you drawing up these graphs or writing up the solutions just as I have typed them up on the screen here. Okay, so those notes should look nearly as neat as my typed ones. Maybe. Anyway, that's it. That's it for Healthy Hearts. I'll see you in the next unit of work. Thanks, Year 12. Enjoy.